r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. People of the United Kingdom, how did Brexit influence your life? My parents moved to France and now can't live there permanently, so they are back more often and I have to visit them more often. EU friends have had a hard time mentally with the uncertainty of their residency status. When purchasing from EU I now have to pay customs tax, so many things are unnecessarily more expensive. I also work in Finland and had to get residency and bank accounts here, as well as rent a flat, which makes it all unnecessarily more expensive for me. Not a single benefit except the false pride of being able to say the UK government is more independent, which is actually a scary idea. Now there is less right to data privacy, fewer food protection laws, and the impact of energy and labour shortages a bit worse. Pre-Brexit I would normally get a few camera jobs per year around Europe, either for European companies or UK companies wanting to shoot over there. It really seems to have been cut back on massively, either due to cost or paperwork. Before I could hop on a plane and just go do it, but now I'd need work visas for some places and customs carnets for my equipment. It simply makes sense to hire an EU national. In addition to this, an agency I had been working quite frequently for seems to have dissolved their relationships with many of their clients in the EU. Many of the people who voted for Brexit are presumably pleased, or at least not fussed, about this sort of thing, as Brexit was partially payback for the unequal distribution of opportunities around the country. In that respect, Brexit has delivered. If it hasn't improved people's lives, it has certainly made some lives worse, which is kind of the same thing. In terms of everyday life, things are continuing fairly normally. There aren't really any shortages of food or goods that I've noticed, and the prices seem to be fairly normal, excluding inflation that seems to be affecting everywhere. Overall, I wish it never happened. The trade-off for more independence was not worth it for me on a personal level, but then I voted to remain, so there's not much else I could do about it. I live in Dover. Brexit has been a freaking nightmare. Yet those that voted to leave still refuse to accept everything that's happening is because of it. They just blame France. Buying things from Europe has become a pain. I bought a Dutch bicycle recently and the price was significantly higher than if I were to buy it as a EU citizen. I checked on their French and Dutch websites and the prices were all cheaper. It also took a very long time to arrive, about 10 weeks. I was told by the delivery company that it was stuck in customs. I also had to fill in a few forms, 2 A4 pages, which was a minor inconvenience but still annoying. Why not get a UK bicycle? Well, this was a specialist item best suited to my needs and is not sold in the UK. So basically Brexit has limited my access to affordable specialist products, which is very frustrating. It's really indicative of why Brexit is horrible economically. International trade is now such a hassle to deal with, it's more expensive, and access to better products has been restricted. It seemed to open the floodgates for a lot of quite xenophobic views to be aired, which then seemed to open the floodgates for racist views to be shared, seemingly proudly. It has been quite worrying to hear some of the reasons behind leave votes and has definitely opened my eyes to the political ethical divides in the UK. Let's see. It's harder than ever to go to Europe. The lack of good trade agreements since leaving the single market has pushed the cost of goods up. The now necessary customs checks have slowed down the importing of goods, resulting in delays in the supply chain and a lack of goods on the shelves. The pound is weak. From a personal perspective, the racist old bastards believe they got a win and that all these problems are as a result of France and Belgium and not a result of their own decision. Not sure I qualify because I sod off. We probably would have spent 6 months in the UK, 6 months in Spain, but the withdrawal agreement made it completely necessary to act sooner. To become a Spanish resident under the withdrawal agreement, you needed to declare an income of €7,000, more or less, but afterwards you need 25 grand a year. So now I have a better life. It's not hugely cheaper despite all these bargain Brits and the Sun programs. But better healthcare, sunny weather, too sunny currently, better environment, no jobs and a more relaxed way of life. I can't imagine returning. I work in a port that mostly exports booze and food. The number of trucks we deal with daily has nearly halved. It's not a completely accurate metric, as some are coming in skeleton, going out loaded, others are coming in loaded and going out skell, but in general, our throughput does appear to have been cut dramatically. Barely affected my life as a working class 31-year-old. No real price changes apart from the usual from inflation. I think the people who it has affected most are the older generations or those who are retired and enjoy regularly traveling to Europe. Extremely ironic because as far as I know the majority of people who actually voted for Brexit were aged 50 plus, so they've just shot themselves in the foot. But hey, they get their Brexit parties and sense of independence, so it was totally worth it, right? Not at all. It affected multiple people I know. It's going to cost one of my friends thousands, but it has made absolutely no difference to me. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. Have a nice evening.